how do we do the 4 square then? Let's take it from the single hand, so back into single-handed, and touch the elbow. The moment somebody's touched your elbow, you've got a dual connection, which means I can either ward off, or I could do a roll back, but here I'm going to ward off, and I'm going to sit back for this exercise and just indicate a push. I'm not doing it. Ken, on the other hand, has come forwards with a press that is much more dynamic. Now, because I'm holding on to his arm, he can get his wrist on and roll me back. And I'm going to ward off and do a press. Now, I can get my roll back on and ward off, but also not put it on. I'm just showing it's there. The roll back. Ken comes forwards into a press, and I sit back and I don't show the push. He does the roll back, ward off, press, ward off, roll back. Ward off, press, ward off, roll back. If we stop it there, if you think about grasp the bear's tail in the form, you've got ward off, roll back, press and push. But we have the ward off left, and we also have the ward off right. So grasp the bird's tail normally contains 2 ward offs, and so does this in the 4 square. Right, let's see that in action then. So from here, we've got first ward off, push, second ward off, press, and we include the roll back, forwards into a press. Just a word about the press. When we're doing the form, pressing against the middle forearm tends to be how we show an obvious press. This press is all through the form, but that's the obvious one. So the press there is imagining a close contact and the supportive weight and the press. We do it differently when we're doing the techniques we're doing with the 4 square, because our bigger concern is an elbow stroke, or somebody coming and controlling your elbow. So when I sit back into the push and then forwards into the press, Ken is guarding my elbows. So again, if he comes now forwards into the press, here, if he uses his elbow against me, he's contained my push. If he doesn't put his elbow there, just move the elbow, Ken, then I can get in because the elbow is quite strong at this point. The press is more paying attention to the elbow. Yeah? So, a little different from the form. Another detail of it is, on this occasion, we can't show both the push and the press going forwards, because if we do, for instance, I'll do it on Ken's press, we end up cancelling each other out. You could try it in real life, but you need to force with force. But this is why we can't both go forwards on the push and forwards on the press. We could change it round and go forwards on the press and push and back on the press. But to enable us to do this technique, we're just going to show one and kind of indicate the other. Which means, on this occasion, we're going to sit back on the push, we're going to go forwards on the press, which will give us then this to and fro opportunity for both sides to practice. So going back. The other thing you have to be super conscious about is what circle you're drawing. So for example, I'm going clockwise and Ken is going anti-clockwise. So clockwise. At the top is a good time to change. And because I'm going to change to the opposite direction, it's easier for me to go forwards into a press. Now, when Ken comes forwards, I'm going anti-clockwise. Sit back on the push, forwards on the press. Back on the push, forwards on the press. At the top, I go forwards on the press, back on the push, but now we're doing an anti-clockwise movement. Because we have become familiar with which circles we're doing, it means we now have two options of getting out of this that we can use. The first one, so I'm now going clockwise, is when I'm on the press, instead of going up on the roll back, I can pull Ken's hand out and go back into single circles. And then we go back into the 4 square and change direction. Now Ken's in his press. This time I can pull his arm out and just go into the push. So what I'm getting at is, if I'm going, for instance, anti-clockwise, I can keep it on my right hand by taking Ken's press. If I'm going clockwise, I can take Ken's on roller. The reason that we're doing this, if I go clockwise and take Ken on his press, it will switch the hand, and I'll end up being left-handed, which we're going to do later, but we don't want to do it now. So going back into it again, we've got the push. So there's a double-handed push up, and there's my double-handed push. Right, lift up, sit back, push, forwards, press. And we're inserting the rollbacks and the ward-offs. So all the movements are contained. And that's how we get into the 4 square.